I can put in my resume. I've done that.
The Business Lab.
Welcome to The Business Lab. Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri. Maaf Zahir dan Batin. So this is a very special edition podcast episode. And before we begin introducing about our guests, I'd like to thank our very generous sponsors, right? ID Entity and Craft by 3, and of course our media magicians, Studio 5 Corp. Today we have Mr. Abdul Latip from HSG Global. Welcome, Mr. Abdul Latip.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for inviting me to this podcast. I think this is the first time I'm doing this podcast. I'm the managing director of HSG Global. This is a new company actually. I have 40 years experience in food retailing in Southeast Asia. But this company we started last year in April. But from the day go, we actually went into international. So it's challenging, but at the same time, it's going to be rewarding if you know the ropes on how to be able to tread the waters when you go overseas.
Powerful introduction, amazing. And I'm very excited to listen about his insights. Before that, I'll kind of give him an intro. So Mr. Abdul Latip is a seasoned professional in the food retailing industry, and he's going to share about his invaluable insights on optimizing supply chain for internationalizing your business to make it global. Okay, so maybe let's kick things off, right? Pak Latip, can you share a story or example that illustrates how optimizing your supply chain helped your business expand internationally?
HSG Global is actually an international halal food importer. So we import anything halal from the globe, bring it to Singapore, either for the local market or for the region itself, right? To be able to go into international, you need to be very, very thorough in your research because that is a very important start. You need to know which are the market that you are targeting for, what kind of product that you wanted to bring to the local market itself. You need to be able to understand the A to Z of the whole supply chain, whether there is opportunity for those products you want to bring to Singapore, whether there is a demand for those products in Singapore, whether the product you bring in are quality acceptable, whether the product has the competitive edge in terms of competitive in the marketplace. Are you the only person that's bringing the product into the marketplace? So you need to be able to do a lot of in-depth study of the product that you targeted to bring to the local market. Besides knowing the product, besides knowing the cost of doing the business, you need to ensure that the regulation pertaining to the product, whether the product is acceptable for you to bring to Singapore. I got my experience. I'm trying to export apricot actually from Uzbekistan last year.
Wow.
So we got a shipment ready to go to Indonesia because I have a buyer in Indonesia. Shipment ready to go. Last minute, the importer and the agent called me up and said, Cik Latif, sorry, we cannot bring apricot to Indonesia. I said, why? Nobody tells me in advance. And there is a regulation, you can import apricot in Indonesia, but Uzbekistan does not have the permit to export apricot into Indonesia. So those are the kind of things you need to ensure that you do a thorough investigation, thorough survey, both ends, from the side that you are importing the product and also the place where you are receiving the product. Because if not, you might be able to get caught in this situation. Worse still, if the product is actually sent to Indonesia and you cannot sell, you have to ship out or you have to dispose the product. So doing your research from the both sides of the logistic supply chain is very crucial because not only you want to bring the right product, but you have to know the regulations. What are the regulations pertaining to the country you are exporting or you bringing? What are the documentation that you required? Then you are able to be quite safe to know that you getting the right product with all the angles covered to ensure that you can market the product into the local market.
Thank you so much, Pak Latip, for giving a very detailed explanation of the ins and outs of it. I think as we speak to you, Pak, it's really like going behind the curtain. You're trying to reveal what goes on behind the scene. So a question that comes up to me is, what are some of the common mistakes that you've seen? People who try to go global, international, but because they don't know, they lack the knowledge or some other skill, they make that mistake. What are the common mistakes you've observed?
Okay, common mistake that people wanted to go globally. Whether you're going to bring your product or services abroad or you are bringing the product into your home country. Okay, we take, for example, we're trying to bring product into your own country. One of the biggest mistake is that sometimes you look at the product, you say, wow, this is a fantastic product, I'm sure it will sell very well in Singapore, but not necessarily so, because whatever product that sells very good in one country might not sell in the country that you want to bring in, like for in Singapore, because Singapore has different tastes, different expectation, different willingness to be able to buy the product. So very important to be able to do a market research, whether that particular product is suitable for the market. You need to do a lot of testing. That means you have to bring samples to the ground, get the people to test, get the market where you want to try to promote your product to be able to test and try the product. It's a lot of work, but that is a key to ensuring that you find the right product that you want to bring to the market. I give you an example. I bring in cherries from Uzbekistan. So when I talk to the retailers, Fair Price, Giant, Cold Storage, they say, Mr. Latif, what Uzbekistan cherries? We have not seen Uzbekistan cherries before. Neither we tried the cherries. Yeah. I say, okay, I'll bring you some. So I have to fly to Uzbekistan, went to the farm, taste the cherries, bring back the cherries, and here you are, give to the retailers. And they try, they find that the cherries is very nice. So you got to go to the extra mile to ensure that you understand the market itself, the consumer itself or the buyer itself, whether they are buying the right product. The next one is that we fail sometimes to look at all the cost factor that covers as far as bringing product from overseas to Singapore. And this is something that a lot of newcomers might want to start, are not aware. There are a lot of hidden costs that you must make sure that you identify before you bring the product. Because you want to make sure that by the time you bring the product landed in Singapore, you have sufficient margin for yourself, because when you sell to a retailer, they also need to have like 30-40% margin, right? So you got to make sure that the margin that you brought in to be able to sell are enough for yourself, enough for the distributor, and enough for the retailer. For example, I bring anything from Uzbekistan or Pakistan. I make sure that by the time it arrives Singapore, landed cost, I have about 100% margin. Why 100% margin? If I want to take 30% margin, for example, as an importer, how many percent margin I want to give to the distributor? Let's say I work with somebody like Banchun. You say, okay, Mr. Latif, I want 30-40%. Okay, I give you 30-40%. That's 70%. Banchun sells to who? Banchun sells to Fair Price. Fair Price say, I want 30%. There you go, 100% gone. Yeah. So you got to make sure that you know who you're selling to, whether you're selling yourself direct to the market, whether you're selling through a local distributor, whether you're selling to the wholesaler. Wow. And then this wholesaler, they need enough margin for them to sell to the retailer. So you need to be able to understand the whole works of it. Unless otherwise you just come in and bring in and you say, okay, I'm going to sell online. That's a different ballgame altogether. You can do that, right? And then you can sell to online business. But online business can and may not be able to give you the volume that you want, because when you bring anything from overseas, you must remember, you don't bring one suitcase, you bring one container. Nobody talks to you if you go from overseas, say, how much you want to buy? Oh, can I get 100 kilo? No, when you go overseas, you're talking about whether it's 40-footer container or 20-footer container. Wow. So that is something that people trying to buy from overseas must understand, because in the food business, volume is the name of the game. When you buy volume, you buy at a lower cost. When you buy smaller volume, you're paying a lot more. So you want to make sure that you maximize your purchases by ensuring that you're buying volume, and at the same time you get a good cost, but at the same time you must make sure that you have the market that you can actually dispose this product very quickly. Especially if you talk about perishable item. For cherries, you have only about 7 to 10 days life. Wow. So if you bring a container of cherries and you don't have opportunity to sell fast enough, then you'll be able to get yourself caught in a trap where you do not know how to dispose the product quickly. You end up selling, okay, I give you free, I sell you at half the price. You end up losing money. So you need to be able to understand that you have a short timeline if you are bringing fresh product into the market itself. But the other challenge is basically in terms of, as I mentioned just now, is trying to ensure that you understand every part of the cost so that you know that everything is covered. You don't get off guard and then you realize that by the time you have the product into the market, you don't have enough margin for yourself.
So, Pak Latip, listening to you speak, it reminds me of the importance of doing your homework. Like you mentioned many times about doing your research, knowing the market, testing the product in that market, and then now you're saying about knowing your margins. And why do you think this is so important? Why do you think some people still kind of sleep on this, doing the research?
I think this is very important for any business itself. And you know, a simple kind of buying a product, if you don't do your research well, you might not be able to maximize the potential of the product itself. Because knowing your market is one thing. Yeah, you need to be able to test that the market have a lot of acceptance level for your product itself. That's why, you know, before we bring in any product into the Singapore market, we do extensive survey. We brought in products to do testing at every level, you know, from the home level to business to restaurant to retailer, to make sure that the acceptance level is very high. Because that will give you the confidence that this product is acceptable to the market. Then you need to ensure that you are able to buy the product at the right kind of price for you to bring into the market. And then you must also understand that when you bring a product, unless you have a very unique product nobody has, then it's a different story. More often than not, you talk about cherry, that many cherries from all over the world. You need to be able to tell the consumer what is the uniqueness about your product. You know, price you can fight because you know how much you buy, you know how much you want to sell. But the uniqueness of the product is something that you can sell. You know, and when I talk to some of the retailers, I say, hey, this is from Uzbekistan. People say, wow, Uzbekistan, something exotic, you know. We never tried cherries from Uzbekistan. So that is by itself give you that edge that you are able to sell your product, telling the consumer and telling the retailers and the buyer that you have a unique product that is different from other people, because this is something new. This is where the market sometimes love to find new product, because people want to venture into trying new product which is exotic, they never heard before. And this is opportunity if you can find product like this.
Wow, that's amazing. So what I'm hearing is really be brave enough, do your homework, you know, and make sure you cover all your bases, okay? And find the value proposition, right?
Yes.
Oh, something unique. Oh, Uzbekistan. Okay, so that's keep it top of mind.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, kind of scope this zoom out a little bit, because some of our listeners might be people who are currently SMEs. Maybe they want to go global. What do you think are some practical steps? You know, some very important steps any SME owner needs to know before they start thinking about going global? Yeah.
Okay, I think one of the basic thing that they need to know is that besides knowing the product that they want to buy, bring it across, they need to also look after their financial capabilities.
Okay.
You know, because end of the day, when you go and venture abroad, everything that you buy is paying upfront. You have not sell anything, but you're paying upfront. You're paying a whole container load, or you're paying, you know, for air flown maybe 2 tons, or for minimum quantity you have to bring in. So this is also challenging, yeah, for new people who's wanted to go into the marketplace to start the business itself. So this is a challenge. You must make sure that you are financially sound. You are able to come up with the money to pay upfront, you know, before even you sell anything. Second thing, I think the very important, not only you do the market survey for your own side, but you need to also touch base in the country that you are going to bring the products coming into the country, because you need to know who are the partner that you're going to work with. Very, very important that you need to be able to build up the relationship. You need to establish the right kind of partner that you want to work with, because in the long term, you need to have somebody that you can trust. Because going global, you need to have somebody that you can work with the trust, integrity, because you're talking about buying products and you pay them upfront. You don't want to have a supplier where you thought they are trustworthy, you go there, you pay your money, the product did not come as what you specified, or the product didn't even arrive at all. So that those are the kind of things that you need to ensure that you covered everything. The best is if you are able to have a partner, a local partner, where you actually engage a local partner either under your your payroll, or they can work for you on a commission basis, so that you establish that kind of network where they can give valuable information on the ground. Whether valuable information about the supplier, valuable information about the current situation in the market, the price, the quality. So these are very important aspects on how you want to start a business. For example, we have an office, for example, HSG Global, because we focus on Central Asia. We have an office in Pakistan, and the Pakistan Business Development Office is the one who do the market survey, research, visit the factory, visit the farm, before even the product is actually been sent to Singapore for testing. So having that kind of capability is very good, but then it can be costly. However, if you in Singapore, you can apply for ESG grant, open an overseas office, you can try to get a grant. So maximize that opportunity, use the grant that is available to go abroad. Because we did apply for business development grant, overseas marketing grant, and we got the grant.
Wow,
so this is important for new people coming into the market to be able to speak to SMAC, maybe, SMCCI, SMAC, and they have advisors. And these are the people that you must go, because they will give you valuable advice. I myself, because I'm new to this logistic business, I speak to SMAC and they give me a lot of advice. How am I going to be able to trade myself going abroad? Because from day one, as I mentioned, we straight away go abroad. So from their experience, they can advise you. And I think these are the people that newbies coming to the market, trying to go and venture abroad, must not fail to go and talk to them. And ESG is definitely one of the platform. And at the same time, you must go back to our SMCCI, SMAC, where they have advisor. They are people who are expert to give you valuable advice.
Oh, that's amazing. And I'm trying to pull out something that you mentioned just now in our conversation on the importance of building relationships with people. Business is about relationship. And you mentioned different levels of relationship with your suppliers, with your partners, with governments. Could you give some advice on how can you nurture and build healthy business relationships so that you have a sustainable working partnership for a long term? Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to go global, if let's say, for example, you target a country where you want to bring your product and services in, first and foremost, you need to be able to find the right kind of partners.
Okay.
To be able to find the right partners is something that is very challenging because you do not know the market, you do not know the people.
Yeah.
So the opportunity is for you to be able to get reference, and you can get reference from people like ESG, SBF, or those people that actually has understanding on the market itself. Particularly if I go to Central Asia, I also have communication with people from SBF, and they advise me, if you go to Kazakhstan, Latif, these are the things that you need to do. If you go to Azerbaijan or you go to Uzbekistan. So we get some reference from these people. Okay, the next thing is to be able to go to a chamber in that country itself. The chamber itself will be able to recommend to you the right kind of partners, the right kind of services that you're looking for. And they will be able to guide you the right people, because chamber, they want to make sure that their prestige and the thing that coming with the chamber is being looked after. They do not want to recommend you any Tom, Dick and Harry. Yeah. They will tell you, okay, look, if you are in this industry, okay, I recommend you these companies. And this is what I do when I go to Uzbekistan. And I talk to them, and they say, okay, you want to export cherries from Uzbekistan, we link you up to this company, you go and talk to them, and you find the right kind of partners, the right kind of people you think is the right partners for you to work with to bring this product to your country. And that helps a lot, rather than you grow not sure where to go, try to find your way out. Go to the right kind of institution, whether it's the chambers. They have international chambers in every country that will be able to help you, to find the right people. After you finding the right company, you need to make an effort, to be able to communicate to the right people in that company. At the top level, at the highest level, visit them, make a proposal, show to them your business strategy, where you come from, what you plan to do, how are you going to be able to market the product, you are finding the right kind of partner, to be able to give them the kind of confidence that, hey, this is the guy that I want to work with, because I don't have my product in Southeast Asia, and maybe this the guy can help me to bring this product into Singapore and Southeast Asia. So you must be very convincing. At the same time, you must show to them you know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. At the same time, when you talk about your local supply chain, that means you need to be able to find the right kind of companies you want to work with. The best option is to be able to find right distributor, because for my case, as far as possible, we want to try to bring the product and find distributor.
Yes.
So that distributor can actually bring the product into the mainstream, because they have the network. You don't have the network. We are new. We don't have the network. So by having the right distributor, we are able to bring the product, and the product can go to the mass market very fast and very easily. So that is something that you want to develop, but you need to be able to touch base with the company, go and see them, discuss with them, talk to them, and make friends with them. At the same time, make them understand who you are, what you're trying to do, what's your company strategy, how are you going to be able to work with them and become their business partner. Because they are also looking for people they can work with. Because every company wants to look at somewhere where they can work with, where they can bring different kind of product. Because when I talk to some of the companies in Singapore, say, hey, I'm bringing product from Central Asia. Okay, so they say, wow, that's very interesting, because Central Asia is not that we focus upon. So this is something that you are able to give them the kind of opportunity to also be willing party to be able to listen to you, what you have, to be able to supply and support them, because they are always looking for new products for the market.
Pak Latip, so much wealth of wisdom here in all your years of experience, knowing what you know now. What's one thing that you kind of wish you knew earlier when you first started on this entrepreneurship journey that maybe the listeners can walk away with?
Okay, one of the things that I realized when you go into the supply chain business itself, you must make sure that you are able to have the financial capabilities, because when you go to venture abroad, a lot of costs that you have to consider. Like buying a container of butter, for example. I just brought in a container of butter from Pakistan. It's $170,000, one container. So you need to ensure that you are able to have the finance capability, or the product that you are going to bring, so that will be able to help you, right? Because you are not spending $170,000, you do not have anything yet, You need to be able to ensure that you have enough sufficient cash flow to roll the money, to be able to get the business sustainable, to be able to ensure that you can continue. But you should not also just only focus on one particular products. You must also try to make sure that you have enough product that can sustain you in the long term, because if you only have one product, if that particular product does not got good acceptance in the marketplace, you are starved. You might as well trying to have a couple of products that can actually help you to support each other. So for us, we bring anything that is halal, from fresh fruit to frozen food, dry products, anything that we can sell into the marketplace itself. So that means at the end of the day, going back to the first question you asked, do your homework. Because doing your homework is the key to any new business venturing abroad, to make sure that you can be successful, so that you don't have sleepless night trying to figure out what has hit you actually.
Wow, thank you so much. A wealth of wisdom here. I think our viewers probably had a lot of takeaways. I would like to thank our sponsors, ID Entity, Craft by 3, and of course our studio magicians, Studio 5 Corp. And please share this video and continue the conversation in the comments. The Business Lab podcast is on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Thank you so much to our sponsors, and of course Pak Latip for a very insightful discussion. We'll catch you for the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.